Well, hey everybody, it's Destry. Welcome back to my Oregon yard. Today we are planting out. That's right, you guys. I am taking some of my beautiful seedlings that I'm growing from my cut flower stand in my cut flower garden, and I am going to be getting these in my raised garden beds today. I'll show you some tips and tricks. I'll show you what I'm growing and what I'm planting out on this really beautiful Oregon day. New here, hey, I'm Destry. I like to garden here in the Pacific Northwest. I'm actually a high school art teacher by trade, but gardening is my passion. I love it so much, and about 2 years ago I started filming myself and created my YouTube channel doing what I like to call yardening. So thanks so much for being here. The story of the seedlings that I'm going to be putting out today is a long one. I started some of these in January and February, and here it is going into April. And I am ready to get these in the ground today. So last year was my first year that I had a cut flower stand. My husband and I actually took down my kids' old play structure. We rebuilt it and reimagined it into a self-service flower and plant stand, and that has been going really well. So with anticipation of that this summer, I need to get some flowers going. So I ordered some seeds, I've been planting them up, and they've been hanging out in my greenhouse now for several weeks. At this point, it's a matter of, do I pot them up again, or do I just get them in the ground? And a few weeks ago, I posted a video about this little greenhouse cover that I'm gonna be using, and a couple other styles of little pop-up, they call them growth accelerators, that I'm gonna be using here in these garden beds. So even though it's not quite to my last frost date, it's pretty darn close. And I think using these little covers and growth accelerators is gonna allow me to get a jump start on my cut flower garden today. So it's rainy today, but I've got my raincoat on standby. That's just par for the course here in the Pacific Northwest. But I think it's gonna be a really good day to get these in the ground. Now, one thing I have been doing is what's called hardening off. So I've been taking my seedlings, putting them outside, exposing them to some cooler temperatures. And the things that I selected to plant out today are things that will thrive in cooler temperatures. Right now, highs are getting in the 60s midday, about 50s and 60s. So it's still pretty chilly. But I think everything that I selected today is gonna do just fine. So let me flip the camera around and I'll show you what I'll be planting today. So I'll start off today by showing you this really cool greenhouse that I got off Amazon. And I did a review of this and kind of setting this up a few videos back. And I also have two smaller ones back here from two different companies that I'm going to be using today on some of my smaller rows. So this is my plan for getting this cut flower garden out, even that much earlier. But let me just show you what's going on. Now, I've had this cover over this bed for a couple weeks, and I want to show you the difference of my tulips. So here's my tulips that have been under that cover, and you can see they are all budded up, ready to pop. Here's the same variety of tulips that hasn't been under that cover. So you can really see the difference in height and just like the progression of them and how far along they are by using this plastic row cover. Now, I only have one of this size right now, but I am planning on buying two more. That way I will have 3 for my set of my 3 garden beds. But I'm just shocked at how much further along those tulips are than the other beds. Some things I'm planting out today, my ranunculus. So I purchased ranunculus corms, and I pre-sprouted them. You can see I'm planning on having about 2 rows of ranunculus here. So it's these 2 rows here. And the tulips and ranunculus I will be removing. Once they bloom and I've processed the blooms, that'll give me the whole front of this garden bed to do something else with. I can turn that area and I can plant, I'm thinking probably summer squash or maybe more of a summer blooming flower. In this whole front area from here back is going to be area that's going to be reused once those cooler flowers are done blooming. The next 3 rows I have are Persian crusts. So you can see the plants themselves are a little wild looking. They're ready to get in the ground. I also noticed they have some thing going on here. If you see those little white, that is bad news bears. So we're going to get these in the ground and we will get them out of the greenhouse just in case whatever's going to hatch there. I probably don't want it in my greenhouse. I also did a little research, and the Persian cress can handle cooler temperatures. Now, Persian cress is a filler flower. I will try to pop up on the screen. It's a pretty white. It does have a flower to it, but it's more of a floral filler. So I'm planning on using that as filler in my bouquets. And then the next couple rows I have here are snapdragons. So snapdragons, you can see here where I have pinched them, and they have put on, you know, 2 sets of stems here. You do want to pinch your snapdragons. So I've already done that. These are, you know, what I would say probably 3-4 inches high at this point. They're looking super healthy. This one is an apricot variety, and then I have an apple blossom variety. Now we'll see how they do. I noticed some of them are getting a little floppy, even though I've had them under grow lights and stuff. I know that they are a cooler season flower, so I think they're going to do really well under this row cover. So I'm going to be doing snapdragons here in the middle. Now the snapdragons I will leave all season, as well as I think the Persian cress will last all season. But the snapdragons I can just cut and come again all season long. So that's what I have in the middle of the bed. And then over here on the edge, I have some blue purum. So blue purum is new to me this year, but it also is kind of a filler flower. I did notice these are getting a little, you know, they're a little floppy like this. So this area of the garden bed is something that I might do some netting to at some point for both the blue purum and for the snapdragons. I'm probably not going to do that today. I'm just going to kind of get them going and get them in the ground, see how they do, and then eventually I will put stakes and I will net this area so that they can have some support, because I have a feeling that these are going to need that support. But I did do research and I don't want to pinch them. I looked up and I thought, well, do I need to pinch these so that they, you know, have more sprouts or whatever? And the answer is no. So I'm just going to pop that blue purum in the ground. So that I think will fill up this bed. Now I'm going to be planting things very close together. So it could be as I get planting that I end up having a little bit more room. So I'll just have to see. So in these 2 beds, I'm going to focus my attention here kind of again to the front of the bed. So these tulips, I will cut them, enjoy them, cut them, and then pull out the bulbs. And then these are all stock. So I have, I believe they're all the same variety. Actually, there's 2 here, and I kind of got them mixed up, but I don't really care. So there's a pink and there is a rose. Now these are both floret seeds that I had left over from last year, and they just did really well again. I loved them last year. They smell so good. They smell like cloves, but these are a one and done. So once I plant them in the ground, they each will produce 1 flower head. You cut it and then that's it. They're done. So again, the stalk and the tulips are things that I'm going to be pulling out later in the season, and I'll have room here in the front of the bed for more, you know, more summer annuals or maybe some veggies or something else like that. And I think I'll have just enough room to cover the stalk with one of the smaller little pop-up growth accelerators there. So that's my plan for that bed. And then over here, I've got a couple things. I've got some crispedia, which are really pretty, otherwise known as like the drumstick flower. They have a yellow flower. I didn't get quite as many of those, but I think I have enough for maybe 2 smaller rows. And then some white orlaya. So I also did some research on this. The white orlaya can take cooler temperatures. In fact, it says online at least that it thrives in cooler temperatures. So you can see I have about 1 row's worth there of the white orlaya. Now the drumsticks and the white orlaya will stay throughout the season, I think, and be able to, you know, I'll be able to cut and come again on those. But the tulips will come out, you know, after they're done blooming. So I'll have a little bit of room. But I think, you know, doing this placement, again, I'll have enough for just 1 little pop-up tent to cover these. Wishing I had, you know, 2 more of the big ones. Hi, Milo. Dogs are completely muddy and destroyed, but you know, whatever, it's fine. Wishing I had 2 more of the big pop-up, because I could probably plant more out. But there are some things in the greenhouse that I'm not going to be planting out today. So let me go ahead and I'll show you those real quick to play out here with me. But oh my gosh, they need a bath afterwards. They're just completely destroyed. They're so muddy. Okay, so in the greenhouse, let's see, things I'm not going to be planting out yet. So I definitely could plant out my sweet peas. I think I'm not going to put them in those garden beds. I think I'm going to do something else with them, so that's why I'm not doing them today, but they are definitely cold hardy, and these could totally be planted out, I think, at any point. No on the gomphrena. So I did a little research on the gomphrena. The gomphrena does not like colder temperatures. It's going to stay in the greenhouse for now, as well as the black-eyed Susans, which are pretty small still, and the bells of Ireland. I only have a few of these, so I'm kind of being protective of them. They probably could go out, but I mean, you kind of saw there, I don't have a lot of room left, number one. Number two, I'm just gonna keep them in the greenhouse for now. And then these are all of my geraniums, and again, they want to be warm and toasty here in the greenhouse, as well as the asters. I'm not going to plant the asters out yet. You can see they got a little bit of damage. I put them out in the sun one day, and they got a little bit of damage from the sun. Not too bad, but I'm going to leave them in the greenhouse for now, as well as the straw flower. So here are my first round of straw flower. They're looking so awesome. But due to lack of space that will be covered. Now, if those seedlings I put out today in the beds, you know, if they do great, then, you know, in a week or two, I could plant out more of this stuff. I could probably do the straw flower, and I could do more planting out. But for now, these are going to stay in here. And then another thing that's going to stay in here are the fuchsias. I'm going to be using these for containers or hanging baskets. They're still pretty tiny, so these will not be going in a cut flower bed. These will be for containers. So those are just a few things I'm not going to be planting out today. Also got lots more little trays of seedlings like these gomphrena. These are a strawberry gomphrena. You can see they're just tiny babies. So I need to actually put these back inside under the grow lights. And then I have a lot more things inside the house that I kind of play like the switcheroo. So, you know, if things start to get bigger, I bring them out here, and then I'll take littler things like this, I'll pot them up and then put these back under the grow lights. So I got to go back inside and sort of assess what's in there. I did pull one tray of the snapdragons out of the indoor grow lights to plant up today. But, you know, things that are little like this, I'm going to let these grow on quite a bit more before I worry about planting them out. So I've got my overalls on today, I've got my raincoat handy, and I'm just gonna take after it. I'm just gonna get these all in the ground. I'm super excited to see how they do. I'm gonna say a little prayer to like the cut flower gods that none of them get too chilly or that there's not some big frost or something. But I have a feeling like now that it's going to be April, like I feel like here in my area in Willamette Valley, like we don't get in Willamette Valley, I'm sorry, we don't get frost after this time. I mean, I think technically it still could, but like it doesn't really happen. So I think we're going to be fine. So let's get these planted out. I'm so freaking excited, you guys. Let's get them going. So next up I have the stalk that I'm going to be planting in this bed. And so I think the first thing I'm going to do is put one of my little cover rows here and like kind of measure out the area. I think that's the first thing I'm going to do. And a lot of these stock seedling pots I have like 2 and 3 in here. So this one's going to be a little more intense because I'm going to have to like separate these all out. But I am going to be planting them really close together. But I want to map out like how big this row cover is before I get started. So I'm going to move these back out of here. And honestly, I don't even know if I need the row cover for the stalk. They're pretty hardy. But if I use this one, let's see here, I'm not going to put it on the tulips. So I've got to about here. Just going to map it out. Oh yeah, that's plenty of room for the stalk. Okay. So I think I'm just gonna kind of go for it here. So because my row cover only covers that little patch of stalk, I think what I'm gonna do is stop the stalk there, and I'm gonna do a row of the white orlaya behind it. I think that's what I'm gonna do. So that little camper van, the little bus, covers just that little patch. So I think what I'm gonna do is take the rest of the stalk, put it in that bed and also cover it, and then do the white orlaya behind here, because I have just enough for one row of this white orlaya. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. And then that means the white orlaya won't be covered, but I think it'll be fine. I've been hardening it off. So I think I'd rather cover the stalk and have it get more heat so that I can get the flowers faster on that. So change of plans, that's how things go when you're working on a project like this, that's for sure. So I'm just gonna do that instead, and then I'll do more stalk in that bed, and then I'll back that up with the crispedia. I think that's my plan. Right, so I'm on my third and final bed for today, and I'm gonna do one more row of stalk here, and I'm gonna cover it with one of those little rows again, and then I'll have a lot of stock. It's gonna be good. So I'm gonna get into this bed here and get the stalk planted, and then behind the stalk I'm gonna do crispedia, which I won't have to. So I'm kind of putting the ones in front that I know I'm gonna be, you know, once they're done blooming, I'm gonna be pulling them out so that I can flip the bed. I can put zinnias in the front. I could put, I don't know, summer squash or a tomato or whatever I decide to do, but I want to get the stalk in the ground ASAP because it's definitely an early spring flower. So I'm just going to do 2 little rows of this and then the crispedia, and then I'm going to call it quits for today with planting out, I think. I definitely have some potting up to do still. Now these are going to take me a little longer again because some of them have 2 and 3 seedlings in one little bundle here. But yeah, I definitely have some more like potting up to do and stuff in the greenhouse. I can keep working, but it's a nice day. It's actually, actually warming up since I've been out here. I'm about ready to go take off a layer. I have leggings under my overalls and I'm getting hot. It's getting warm out here. All right, well, I got everything watered in. I'm feeling really good about what I got done today. And before I put the covers back on, I want to show you everything I got planted out. So let's take a look. Everything looks a little flopped over because it just got watered in, but I've got all the ranunculus here and then the Persian cress. I've got my snapdragons. Again, they look a little floptastic because I just watered them in, but I think they'll perk back up when I get that cover back on. They get some warmth. And then I've got, let's see, I've got my tag in the wrong place. My blue perum here. So what, about 2 rows of blue perum, about 4 of snapdragons, about, well, the Persian cress I put really close together, and then my ranunculus, and then of course my tulips. And then over here, I've got my tulips. I've got 2 rows of stalk, 4 rows of stalk, and then 1 and about a half. I only had 3 there of the orlaya, the white orlaya. And then I'm going to be putting the little, I'm calling them little camper buses because that's what they remind me of. But I'm going to be putting the cover just over the stalk, and hopefully the orlaya will do all right without being covered. And then over here, I've got more stalk and then the crispedia. So once this stalk is done, I'm definitely going to be, I'm going to have lots of room here in the front once the tulips and the stalk are done. So these 2 beds are about halfway filled. And then this one is all the way filled, so I can move that cover back over. And then I've got tons of, pots back, trays back, so that I can keep on with some of my seedlings and such. But it's really fun. It's fun to know that, some of this stuff will be blooming, I'll be harvesting it, and then it'll be done, and then other stuff will stay throughout the season. And yeah, I definitely will keep you updated on how everything goes. So now I'm gonna pop the covers back over the little ones. I need to wait for my husband to do the big one because I wanna be a little careful about setting it down. Now it doesn't fit on here exactly, so I'm gonna have to be a little careful when we put it down and make sure I don't need to move any plants. So I need him here for that, and he's not here right now. So I'm gonna need 2 people to do that part, but I'm really excited with everything I got planted out today. The dogs are having a great time. I'm gonna keep the side one zipped though. It has a side one, and then the other one just has a vent on the top. So I'm gonna be really careful and just pop this over. You can kind of see through it and make sure I've got all my stalk covered. And I might end up moving it over the orlaya too. Like I might just, switch it every couple of days. And then this one's really cool. This one has a mesh all the way across the top. And I just got both of them on Amazon. But this one's totally mesh on the top, so it lets the water through. So I'm gonna put this on the other stalk here. And hopefully I spaced it out right. Be kind of careful here. Oop, perfect. Good, I think that'll help it. Now, the other thing I could do is tack these down. I don't think we're gonna get any wind in the next couple days. It'll be real bad, so I think it'll be fine. But this one actually has little stakes that I can stake down, and I might end up doing that with that one too, but that's good. And then, like I said, I need a second person to kind of help me place this one. But yeah, I'm so excited, you guys. I got my first kind of set of my seedlings, my cut flowers in the ground today, and I'm so excited for the 2025 growing season. This is gonna be so much fun. I definitely will keep you posted on how everything turns out, how things are doing. I'm feeling these will maybe have a little bit of transplant shock, so they might not look that great for a week or so, but then I think they're just gonna take off and do really well, so I'm super excited. All right, guys, well, that's gonna do it for this video. I hope that you liked hanging out and checking out what I'm planting up and what I'm planting out in my garden so far this spring, and I hope it gave you some ideas and inspiration. Don't forget to check some of my playlists below. I have lots of playlists on seed starting, spring gardening, growing flowers, and growing vegetables. So be sure to look through the playlist, find something that interests you, and watch another video. And if you haven't already, please hit that like and subscribe button. It would really be awesome. It would mean the world to me. So if you need me, I'll be hanging out in my Oregon yard doing some gardening. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.